Welcome in, everybody. This is the replay. I'm your host, Jabril Rashad, where we're trying to make your day, and we're coming to you live. I'm going to bring my guys to the stage right now. I got none other than Tim Action Jackson from Nebraska, as well as Daryl Alexander the Great. And don't adjust your screen. Yes, this is live, guys. And yes, Daryl the Great Alexander is in third. If you see Tim is in the middle, usually DA is in the middle. But TJ beat him this evening, so he's in the middle now. So that's how we're gonna start tonight's show out. Good evening to you, my brothers.
What's up?
Oh man, hey, it's a blessing to be with you, brothers. Well, I'm on the outside, the inside, or whatever side. I'm just here with you.
I know that's right. I think
West side is the best side. What's up?
He was very surprised, DA. He was very surprised, man. That's why I was about to call you up and like, man, what
I was struggling with my computer and my chargers and all of that, and a couple minutes just went by and that joker slid in.
Well, that's all right. Well, we want to welcome everybody that's coming on to the replay again, where we try to make it day. Before we get started, do me one small favor, y'all. Well, it's a big favor, actually. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, and share button and that notification button for us. Again, we're still growing the channel, and we want to try to bring y'all the best possible content that we can. And we thank y'all for joining us for this episode. So we're going to get into some of the things that happened this past weekend. It was a very busy weekend. You know, we had the 2024 NFL draft. We had, our Dallas Mavericks, man, was going. I thought we was going to go up 3-1. We'll talk about that in just a second. And we got the return of Zeke Elliott to the Cowboys. So we'll get a chance to talk about that as well, amongst other things. So, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and get it started right now, man, and talk about, what happened on Sunday between the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Clippers. They came in and snatched that game we started off very slow, and then we got into it led by Kyrie Irving. But let's go ahead and take a little bit of the fourth-quarter highlights, and I want to come to you first on this here, D8, and give me your assessment, man, of what happened or what you saw at the start of the game.
Man, this is my, I guess, unfair critique of Jason Kidd. Like, he's not really good at stopping runs. I think even though, they were hot, it's still, I think it's just some things you need to do before your team gets up down 31. I mean, I may be crazy to say that, but I'm like, I just couldn't. You got Kyrie and Luka, and I just don't see how you can get down 31 points. But anyway, it's like he allows them to get down big, and the comeback, you just have to. In order for them to come back, you just have to be magical. You have to just hit shots and hit shots and hit shots, and after a while, you go on another little slump, and it's just hard to pull off. Like, that was a lot of energy. I wouldn't say wasted, trying to get back into that game, and then you get it that close in the end, and it's like you just almost out of gas from all the energy you spent trying to come back. Another thing I think, and I'm hard on Luka, as y'all know, because I think he's overrated. He's overrated as how should I put this? He's overrated as an overall NBA player to me. I think a lot of times he's allowed to just shoot, and then he'll end up with 30-something points, and you think he had a good night, even though his shooting percentage is 20%. He's shooting 20 from the 3, 30 from the floor, and those are just not good numbers, man. Kyrie needs to be the man. He needs to be bringing that ball up, let Luka get in where he fits in, get into the flow, tell him to stop whining, play defense, stop reaching at people, letting them go by you every time, so y'all can go on and get these boys out the tournament and go to the second round, man. That's my opinion on it.
Okay, well, let me ask you this right quick before I come to Tim, because what was interesting to me, and I kind of caught, I had what you can call mine tape delayed. I had to go back old school because I didn't see it as it was actually going. But my question is simply this: when we talk about Luka, I'm thinking Luka had such a slow start, right? And we saw Kyrie was finally like, you know what? Hey man, we're gonna be in this thing. Let me take over.
Let me take over.
But when you at the end of the game, they pretty much shot about the same. Now, sometimes I understand that it's the quality of shots because I think Luka was like 10 of 24, and he was something like 13 or 25 or something with 20, finished with 29 points. He had a triple-double, Luka did. But I think sometimes it's the quality of shots that you get off in games like this, because he also had a couple of blown defensive assignments. So what do you speak to that though right quick, DA, before I come to TJ on that?
Yeah, I think I said I think on the text message that when it was really crucial, they were both just making a lot of turnovers. Kyrie just felt like he wasn't probably getting no help, man, and just trying to do too much. Because a lot of them, man, he's like he was just trying to do too much and either missing a tough shot or turning the ball over. And it's just I think it's a result of just the game is so chaotic and hectic that y'all it's just you get kind of out of whack. But that's where coaching comes in. You got to reel them back in, or you got to pump them up, or reel them back in. You just got to coach them. I think Luka needs to realize, hey, this is the playoffs. Let me stop whining. Let me just stop just bouncing the air out of this ball. Let's get into a flow. When they run, they unbeatable, man. When they get it, when they're in a fast flow, like they were behind, so they had to speed the game up. They're deadly. But when Luka gets the ball, he just gonna bounce and bounce and bounce and play that Euro ball, and I don't like it. I'm prejudiced, but I don't like it.
You want to be like the running niggas.
I want them to flow.
You want to be like the running niggas at Wilma Hudson. I understand.
Man, I want them to run and flow. They got the team for it.
Yeah. Well, let me come to TJ right quick. TJ, what you got, man? What's your take on it, man? Because DA, man, he just ain't feeling the way Luka playing, man. What's your take on them Dallas Mavericks, man?
Hey, I can understand where that game started. He can feel that way, and especially where it started off, man. They was missed. I think they missed almost about 15 straight 3-pointers. They started hitting twos, and they still couldn't hit 3-pointers. So that's a lot. That right there is enough to lose the game on right there. So for them to actually come back, that says a lot about their resolve and their internal fortitude. So I'm proud of them for that, where they gave off on that. But starting the game off, that was alarming. They've set a trend right now. Luka starts off fast usually, and then Kyrie picks it up later. Even when Kyrie tries to pick it up in the first quarter, if you see Luka going off, he still be off. So that first quarter, Kyrie was off.
Mm-hmm.
Luka was off, and the whole rest of the team was off, except for Washington. Washington was still he kept him a little bit, and then Luka was making shots here and there, and he got in foul trouble. So then his defense. He was playing really good defense until he got those 2 fouls. He got those 2 fouls, and then he was trying to back off and trying to play. And they sickened it. They were sicking hard on him. Everybody was sicking on him then because he was afraid to get his other foul, and he was afraid to get fouls because he got some more fouls and he kept going too. So he got 3. He might have had 4 fouls or something like that. So he was piling fouls. They was calling fouls on Luka this game, and so with that you saw the trend, and then Kyrie turned it to another level. Oh my goodness. And man, I think he was drained by the fourth quarter though. Mm-hmm. And so at the fourth quarter, he turned the ball over twice. Sometime at the end of the game, when he got the tie, by that time he turned the ball over twice. He hit a couple of shots. That dude was exhausted. Mm-hmm. So he had drove all that kind of stuff and did all those things. Everybody else started hitting shots. He didn't want to make those 2 mistakes he made. He was splitting two defenders. And he turned the ball over once. He did it again and turned the ball another time and just a couple of easy layups. Easy, but it was easy for him. He usually makes those, right? And so he missed that 3. So those are differences. Then Pete, and you got to give it to. I will give to Clippers this. Clippers hustle when they don't have Kawhi.
Yep.
Reminds me of Utah back in the heyday when when they used to play defense with long arms and stretch out. Them guys are coming at them real hard, and they may not be all great defenders, but they're getting away with holding and pulling, and they letting them get away from all from the top. I saw a little difference in the calling on that on both sides, but their defenders were getting away with the holding and the pulling. They was hitting Luka's arms and all that kind of stuff. I think he kind of worn out. from all that hitting, and then he couldn't do it back. So that's the other thing. He couldn't do back what they was giving him. And so with that, Clippers played a real good game and they held on. So
well, let me jump in here real quick because I'm going back to something DA said a second ago in regards to Jason Kidd, right? Now I don't know, I'm quite sure, and I don't know if it's a game time decision or if it was a game time decision for Kawhi Leonard, whether or not he's going to be playing or not. And I just don't understand how you come out, and maybe that's a little bit of, I think Kyrie said in the post-game interview, he stated something in regards to, it's kind of like it's liberation for the Clippers when Kyrie is not playing.
Yep.
But for them, I mean, you're doing an assessment of their approach to the game. But what about doing the assessment regarding you all's approach to the game? Because this is the second game where they didn't have Kawhi Leonard, and the Dallas Mavericks came out kind of lethargic. Hey, knock on wood. Hey, man, this is a game going on. This is a playoff game. This is not the regular season. The first one to 4 games wins, and the loser go fishing. So, guys, you have an opportunity to go up 3-1. 3-1. You know what that does? I mean, it just, playing the percentages, it makes your odds very favorable. Even if you went back to LA and you lost the next game, you come home and the crowd is still the crowd and you get that game, then you win the series 4-2. Now, I do think we will win the next game. I think we will make the adjustment. I do think Luka is going to be a little bit more assertive because he said in the post game, we talked about this for a minute, DA, that he has to do more to help Kyrie. And because Kyrie is, 32, 33, it's kind of like, do you want him asserting himself like this? And some of those other guys got to step up. The Josh Greens, and I'm still trying to figure out Kleber, man. I don't know what. It's almost to the point like Josh Powell. Why do y'all keep hanging on these guys, man? I just don't understand. And I just think, they are missing Tim Hardaway, but I don't want to make an excuse. But when Tim Hardaway is really on, he brings a lot to the table, too, when he's on. But I just think some of those guys, Josh Green, I even throw a wrinkle in there, man, with the young kid Hardy. I'll put him out there just to, maybe give him 5, maybe 6, 7 minutes just to give him a different look. But they don't have to do more with this particular lineup starting the game out because it's something about, them showing up in the first quarter, man. There's some mixed cues going on, and they look like they just sleepwalking or something like that. And I don't know if you can have that. It'd have been different, DA, had this would have been on the road. I mean, excuse me, on the road. Because sometimes on the road, you're amped up. You're ready to play that first game because you're on the road. It's like you against the world, but they got beat on the road the first game. Now, at home, there's a little bit of lackadaisical because you got the family. You're trying to get tickets for the family and friends and all this other stuff. That can be accepted if you start out a little bit slow. That normally happens to the Dallas Cowboys a lot, too. But they got beat in L.A., and they got beat convincingly, man. So going back to L.A., how do you see them approaching in Game 5? Do you think that we got a chance to go ahead and, really, really solidly win that game? I truly believe that we do, but I want to hear your assessment of it.
Man, I think, and even if I step back to the end of Game 4, I just think I think kids should have had Gafford and Weekly on that floor more. Like Kleber shouldn't even. Like you just said, I'm trying to figure out what is it with Kleber, especially at the end of that game where you got Weekly and or Gafford like not getting minutes. One or another should be on the floor at all times.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Agree. So it's gonna be. I think that game was critical, man. That's why I talk about as a coach, you got to make sure when that tip off, you got to be in your players' brain. Like we know Kawhi is out. If I notice they play better without Kawhi, he should notice they play better without Kawhi. They play much freer. They just, it's like Kawhi kind of holds them back a little bit. And when he's not there, they feel relaxed and they play better. Like you saw how Paul George, he had a bad game with the game before, and then he's like, "Hey, I ain't no Kawhi out here. Let me go and do what I do."
Look at this lineup right here. Look at this lineup. Now I don't know. I'm gonna ask you, TJ. Who do you think the Mavericks' best perimeter defender is? Number one, and this lineup with Cleveland in the game, I would have a young Derek Lively out there on the floor, man. I mean, why he don't have Derek Lively? They keep going with Cleveland. It just beats the heck out of me. But who do y'all think our best perimeter defense? Because I was kind of surprised they had Jones on Paul George. I understand he got the leaping ability, but when he kind of dipped in and did the Euro 2 steps and hit the three, that was big right there, man. I think that was the deciding
yeah, that was the dagger game right there.
That was the dagger, man.
Well, the best perimeter, but he was getting beat this game too because he was figuring them out. PJ Washington, their best perimeter defender right now. He was getting beat as well, and the other one was getting put on his shoulder. What's his name?
Yeah, he sure was.
Yeah. Each one kept they kept putting each one of their defenders on their shoulder. They got them to the side. He beat them enough to put them on their shoulder. And if nobody else could help on him, and he was passing the ball out pretty good, they was rotating around. So they were doing a good job whenever he got collapsed or double team of shooting that ball. Now Cleveland plus and minus this game is a little bit different than all the other games that have been going on. He was the only one actually. His numbers were defensive numbers because his defense was playing really well against other players. The numbers when he was in is way higher than the other two guys, especially Gafford. Gafford is having a tough time. And plus, what they did, they took out their center. Their two centers were playing better than our two centers. So I can see why he won't Cleveland if they're going to take their centers out because they keep beating our centers. Both of their centers are playing our centers, especially the starter. He's definitely beating both of those guys, man. They having a hard time, even though I think he should switch it. I think at the beginning of the game, he should have a rookie in there, the rookie center in the game, and Gafford should come off the bench because how he plays better against the taller guy. So he plays him better. So they should switch. He should be starting this series. He can go back to next series, but this series, they should switch the centers. And then they could keep both of them on the floor, and then we won't have to play Cleveland except for when he played power forward. He needs to that's when PJ Washington needs to spell.
Right.
You can put him in because he plays good against small forwards and power forwards.
Yeah.
He doesn't play well against centers. So and you can't have exposed too long because eventually he's gonna hurt you offensively and defensively as well too. So he shouldn't be out there too much. Just enough of him is good because he plays good defense. He's good fundamental. He can block a shot and he can run. He can move well when they do switches. He's good with the switches. So he does.
He should never be in there at the center position. If you ask me.
Yeah, I totally agree. He shouldn't be at the center position except for this game when they took the centers out. That's the only reason why they took both their centers out, and it was okay for a lot of while. That's why they was coming back. He was in the game, and it worked because they took both of their centers out. That's the only reason it worked.
Well, I'll say this, and we'll end it on this note right here: is that I think they need to keep Derek Lively out there. I think he's a young, active guy. I think he'll do a much better job than Kleber, and I just feel like if they leave him out there, man, we can definitely do some damage in the fourth quarter. We got to come up, go back, look at the film, and make sure that Jason Kidd need to make sure that he got the proper matchups defensively and doing some of the things that he want to do. Because if they are going to attack Dallas on the offensive end, then we definitely got to attack them, man. When they got Gorbach or whatever his name, Gorbach out of the game, you got to have somebody in there to punish them if they got a smaller player in there. So hopefully, like I say, man, we'll see them again. I think we play again on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, right? Wednesday, Thursday. So hopefully I'll go in there and it's Wednesday, okay. But hopefully we go in there and take care of business, man. I do think, again, we will win that game. So, again, we're going to still follow our boys, man. Big shout out to Kyrie. He went in and dropped he finished with what did he finish with? 31?
Put a 40 burger. He put a 40 burger on.
Yeah, 40, yeah. I just thought, but yeah. So big shout out to Kyrie, man. I hope he get his rest, man, and we go out there and take care of business. So, guys, we're going to segue over here to this NFL Draft 2024 NFL Draft recap and what happened these past 3 days, man. It was a long 72 hours. We had a lot of great moments, man, covering the NFL Draft. And I know Tim was, he had a dagger in his heart, man, when the Cowboys traded back, man. I tried to help him through that. But I try to help him through that. I try to help him through that, people.
Instant classic, man. That was instant classic.
Well, I'm telling you something. I played that so much, man. I'm talking about I was laughing. I had and boy, the CDA man laughed the way he was laughing, man. I couldn't do nothing. And then
Let me just say this.
When I decided to take a break to come back and hear you and Tim still talking about it, man, I said, oh, they were still going on about
it. say, Tim, when he said, and I told myself I wasn't gonna do it. I said I wasn't gonna do it.
It's like, look, DA, it's like I'm holding up looking at the mirror at myself because your face expression told it all. It told it all. It just made me pause in the mirror like, wait a minute, man, what am I doing?
Man, that joker say drum roll. America's team is up next. We on the clock. We getting ready to just the moment we've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. And then Till say, I think they traded the
Yeah, that's all right though, man. That's all right. I had
Till say, man, I think they traded picks. I think they traded their picks. The real say, huh? What?
Oh man, you done got me all worked up, man.
I done waited all day. I said it all up.
I got drum rolls, man. I got drum rolls. I'm beating the drum roll. I'm telling DA, America's team. We about to draft. And with the 24th pick, the Cowboys slid down to 29. I looked at DA, said I was done. I said, oh man, I'm not doing that again, man. But you know, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, man, let's get into this and recap this draft, man. All the way from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Man, we're gonna talk about one of the questions I had was, who do you guys think had the best draft? And before you give me a response, let's go through some of this or what I pulled up today. Surprisingly enough, they gave the Dallas Cowboys an A-. Most of what I saw. Now, some people gave them a B-.
Yeah,
because they addressed needs. Yeah, but they gave the Arizona Cardinals an A-.
What did your guy give the Commanders?
I think the Commanders got an A also. One person even thought that they had the best draft, but many people said Chicago Bears had the best draft. They felt the Buffalo Bills got a B+. The Atlanta Falcons, they gave them I think a B-. No, C+. C-. Yeah. Excuse me, C+.
I think the Niners got a C or something like that too.
Yeah, the Ravens got an A+. You say the Niners did?
Yeah. I think I saw a C on ours. It should have been a D+.
D+. You didn't like. I know we talked about Pearsall. We'll talk about it in just a second, though. DA. Carolina Panthers, they got a B. They Chicago Bears again. They got an A-. Cincinnati Bengals B-. Cleveland Browns C+. Dallas Cowboys A-. Denver Broncos B-.
What the Eagles get?
Got a B. Let's see. Green Bay got a B. The Houston Texans, they gave them an A-. Indianapolis Colts B+. Jacksonville Jaguars A-. Kansas City Chiefs got an A. Las Vegas Raiders got a B-. And the Los Angeles Chargers got an A+. Along with the Rams, they got an A+. They gave the Miami Dolphins a B-. Minnesota Vikings B+. New England Patriots a B. New Orleans Saints A+. There's a lot of A's and B's in this.
I don't get that. So they think
New York Giants got a B+. Well, the Jets a B+. Philadelphia got an A+. I don't want to say A+, but they got A+. The Pittsburgh Steelers got an A. San Francisco got a B. Seattle got an A. Tampa Bay got a B+. Tennessee A+. Washington A-. And that's it. So guys, let's recap this thing, man, because
no C's and D's.
Yeah, I mean, that was only one team that had a C+.
I don't get that.
Yeah, I didn't think the Cow. I mean, but then when you look at it, though, I think Tim, you made a good argument regarding how Dallas was moving with their pick to trade back to pick up that extra third pick. They had several guys that they was looking at, and if they get out of their first round draft choice, Tyler Guyton, if they get out of him, because he's very athletic, he's still a raw talent, he got a lot of potential. They can coach him up, but to go back and get Cooper Beebe and can move him to center, he's a power center. He's a guard center, but you can plug him in at center. But he's a big boy. I went back and watched some of the highlights on him. He's a big boy. So
he's a wide body.
Yeah, he's a wide body for sure. And I think they went back and addressed the need, and that's what they was talking about. So TJ, I'll come to you, man. What do you get of Dallas Cowboys, and tell me why, and what are the main things that you think that they picked up on?
Well, it's hard for me to grade. I really don't like this grading, but I'm gonna give a grade. But I really don't like giving a grade because guys' growth and how they do is actually two things. One, the team that they own and how the team nurtures them, and two, what kind of effort that guy put into his career at that time too. Because it's two parts.
Right.
Because the team can mess you up. Also, what's going on, they can have their own fits and all that kind of stuff. Or, you can actually come in and you don't work hard yourself. So a lot of times that depends on that. But the things, what people usually grade on is things that they can see, that they kind of know, they really feel, because they know about the guy. So when they know about somebody, they like to give them pretty good grades of what they're doing, or if they actually meet the needs they think they met. Now, the good thing I think about what Dallas did, and I'll give them an A for this part to me, they was building up that line not only for now, they built up the line for the future. Now they got 4 linemen that's pretty young. Only one that's longer than the tooth is a right guard, they all-pro guard. And so all you got to do is keep, and then with a couple of people like Bass that's backing up, TJ Bass, and then you got Brock Hoffman, they got people that can fill in even if he gets injured in this long, because he's getting longer than the tooth now. So they got to make sure they have depth now as well, too, to cover if he has some little minor injuries. As you get older, you ought to start to have a little bit more minor injuries. So they covered it up. They needed that depth on their offensive line because that's one of the most important things. You can't run the ball without that. So a lot of people are disappointed that they didn't get a running back. And the reason why is that they feel like, hey, they needed this running back. Well, they wanted a running back that first one they wanted, one from Texas. And once they couldn't get him,
Brooks.
He went early. Yeah, so once he went early, that opportunity was gone. So after that, they was like, okay, we'll get a running back. But if I don't feel like he's no better than what we have, because people got to remember, Pollard averaged 59 yards a game. That was production last season. So, if you get 45 yards from the guy we're going to talk about a little bit later, and the other guy who actually was playing pretty well last year, he just averages 10 to 15 more yards a season. You got the same production in running back. No problem whatsoever, because
they was also targeting Trey Benson from Florida State, but he wound up going right before, I don't know exactly what, I think it was the 4th or 5th round that he got drafted. I think there was some talk about him too, but anyway, they didn't take a look at him at all.
They had their targets, but each time everybody knew they was going to running back. Since everybody knew they wanted running back, everybody picked them running backs they felt like Dallas liked. And they took him early. They took him before Dallas to get there. Dallas going to have to trade up. The only way Dallas going to get their running back, they're going to have to trade up to get their running back. Because everybody knew they wanted a running back. So the only way they're going to be able to do it, and some people didn't want to trade up with it. And some people probably would have traded back in front of them. Because people kept trading in front of Dallas to get a player they thought Dallas may have wanted. And then Dallas pivoted on him and picked another player. And they did a good job of pivoting because they kept picking guys that was left on the board that was in their target, what they wanted, linebacker or whatever position, and they kept getting a defensive end. Nobody knew they were going to get a defensive end that early. That's why people were ready.
Come over to DA right quick. Let me come to DA right quick. DA, let me ask you a question then. Who do you think won in this year's draft, and what grade would you give the highest grade that you saw? You thought somebody got a grade that was a little bit better than others. What did you really see through this draft?
I personally thought, because I don't know college like y'all know college, but so out of the guys that I did know about, I thought Chicago might have gotten the highest grade in my book, and with the Commanders coming in a close second. But like Tim was saying, I think the grading system is, I don't know how you can grade it. Like, how do you give everybody A's and B's? Like, I don't understand where that comes from. You would think if you got A's and B's, you would have almost as many C's, maybe a couple of D's.
I'll be honest with you though. That's the first time I've kind of seen them give out those kind of reports.
Yeah, I've never seen it like that. The guy that I saw, he gave a couple teams C's, and I think the Niners were one of them that he gave C. That's why I was like, whoever that guy was, he was very, very lenient. But I think the grade should come a year after. You should wait till
after see what you got.
After the season is over, then you give your draft grades. I mean, but I get it though.
But they give them, they do it. They just put a lot more emphasis on it because a lot of people are taking a lot of time, looking at these players, investing in these players, and evaluating these players. So they give the report card as far as the draft a little bit more credence than they do probably once the season's over with. But speaking of the 49ers and the grade that you wanted to give them, they got a B. You said you would have given them a D. So I want you to speak to why you're giving them a D other than Pearsall being a white guy. That's what DA hit me, Tim.
Say, but think about this. Think about this, Jabril.
I know.
But think about this. When I first talked about it, I didn't even know he was white. I just knew it was a bad pick. I didn't know he was white until 2-3 days later.
You didn't like it. You didn't like it anyway.
He was a reach.
He had so many tattoos on. I thought he was a brother. His arms were dark. Right. And he had football helmet on. I just assumed he was a brother. I would never thought, he's a white dude. I was basing it on you don't need no wide receiver. You got the two you got, they ain't going nowhere. Go get you a cornerback, man. Get you the cornerback from the best available cornerback even though I think they didn't get a bad cornerback, but that wide receiver pick to me was a total waste. It just made no sense to me. And it didn't make sense to a lot of people. Like that article I showed you, it was like that was the worst pick. Like, why did y'all pick this dude as your first pick in the first? He ain't no first round talent. Like let's go
over. Let's look at what San Francisco who they drafted. They drafted Ricky Pearsall, and you're correct. They drafted him with the 31 pick.
Nope.
He's so far at the bottom. You almost could say it's the second round, but it is what it is. First round. I only say that because I remember when Dallas Cowboys took Taco Charlton. The year they took Taco Charlton, passed over T.J. Watts, which was really more so because they was running a 4-3 and the Steelers were running a 3-4. They thought that T.J. Watts was a little bit undersized. However, I knew when they was really looking at Tack McKinley, who the Atlanta Falcons wind up drafting out of UCLA. So the only one that was graded that was the next best defensive edge rusher was Taco Charlton. But I knew he wasn't first round though. But Dallas took him at the very, I think it was like the 30th pick or somewhere in there at the very bottom. But you all took Ricky Pearsall. You took defensive back, which again I thought you all definitely needed safety help. But you took Renato Green from Florida State, your favorite team, college favorite team. You took offensive guard Dominique Puny. You took defensive back out of Wake Forest, Malik Mustafa. Now the Cowboys got the other boy that's pretty aggressive from Wake Forest that they like a lot. But you guys got Malik Mustafa. You got Isaac Garendo, the running back, Jacob Cowan, the wide receiver, and Jared Kingston, offensive tackle and linebacker, Tatum Bethune. So
I think they didn't get a safety. They've been flirting with I think they didn't get a safety because they flirting with Jamal Adams for some reason. They want to try to revitalize his career. That was on the wire today. They talking to him about bringing him over. Even though they got I have trouble pronouncing his name. Follow the Pacific Islander. The Pacific Islander.
Yeah.
We don't know how he's going to be coming back for the injury, but he was key to that defense.
Absolutely.
He flopped around and flailed around like what was the Pittsburgh safety name? Palomalo, Troy Palomalo.
Yeah, Troy Palomalo.
So he was trying to imitate him, and he did good until he got hurt. But I guess they don't know what his future is going to look like because they're considering, bringing Jamal Adams over as well. So they probably were thinking about that. That's why they didn't draft a safety. But I thought that wouldn't
be a bad veteran pickup. But and I'm gonna come to you right quick, TJ, on this because my question about the San Francisco 49ers. You got a brand new defensive coordinator. So TJ, having played in the league, you and I know when you get a new coordinator, you're trying to still fit these pieces in to see if they're going to even fit your scheme. That's number one.
But he was with them, right?
They defensive coordinator?
Yeah, he didn't. He just got a promotion. I don't think he came from outside. I don't think.
Yep. Okay. If they promoted within, then but he's still going to have the same his philosophy and his scheme.
He knows most of them.
Yeah. But will he run the same scheme? That's going to be the key. I don't think he'll change it too much as far as the base defense. You all run a 4-3, so but the way he schemed it up, that could be different. But TJ, speak to that on that in that regard, because the San Francisco 49ers, they did draft 2 DBs that I think they definitely needed more so than the wide receiver Pearsall. But I think somebody may be gone in that wide receiver room, and I keep saying Deebo Samuel.
Well, think about it.
He don't take it in. Well, he don't see it. Well, okay.
I'm gonna address 2 things. I'm gonna hit. You know, you had Wanstead, Dave Wanstead, and then you had Bruce Davis. You know, one of them left, and then Bruce Davis took over the defense coordinator. He was a line coach before that. So to give an example, and he changed up the defense a little bit. He didn't call the defense the same. Everybody's mindset, they kind of changed some of the calls and stuff like that, and they will major in something more than another coach, right? Because I've seen the coach do it himself. Kind of like the coach that left, all of a sudden start playing more zone for the playoffs, okay? So you can have some strange stuff happen on your defense where a coach will not feature certain parts that actually don't take advantage of things. So you
certain players too.
Yeah, he can like another player more than he like other players. Right. Yeah, you're right. He'll favor other players as well too. He can favor call, he can favor players, so he can change some things in your defense a little bit. He can do some things that actually advantageous to the defensive lineman on the right one, and then the one on the left side is he actually taking on too much, and all of a sudden he doesn't look that good the next year or something like that. So you can have all kind of little quirms happening. And the second was, you know, Deebo Samuel gets hurt a lot. That's why he got another receiver. He gets hurt a lot. He gets hurt every season.
You know what? But not to cut this short, but I'm gonna tell you something. When I started to see him catch these injuries, it kind of put me in mind of these real tough running backs, man. It take a lot of abuse after a lot of carries. He's like the equivalent of that, because he really, you know, he's really like a running back trapped inside of a wide receiver's body, so to speak. Or should I say a wide receiver trapped to a running back body? Yeah, because he takes a lot of balance. Yeah, so you're right about that, Tim. Yeah, absolutely.
He definitely. That's the reason why they got another receiver. That's why he was looking for, because they have to do something when he's out. Because remember, they lose when he's out, so you need him. So they probably should have picked another receiver. You know what I'm saying? Or traded back. But sometimes people don't want to trade with you either. It takes 2 to trade. You know what I'm saying? It takes 2 to trade. Everybody keeps thinking, oh, they should have traded back. But what is it? What you say, Jabril?
No, I said Brendan Rice. You talking about they should have took a wide receiver. Oh. They didn't want, you know, Kyle didn't want to put too much pressure on himself by taking the son of Hall of Famer Jerry Rice. But okay,
Jerry every practice all on the sideline, interrupting everybody. Nah, man, we don't want all the problems.
But I'm gonna tell you this though. Let me say this about one of the Dallas Cowboys picks. I went back and I watched this young fella tape, man. That linebacker they got Notre Dame, Maurice Lealfo. I like him, man. I like him. Because when I'm gonna tell you something. When it's clear to him and he see his target, he come down.
Yep.
He ain't hesitating. He come down. And I like that. You know, a lot of Samoan players, man, they kind of got that energy. I don't know if it was something that Junior Seau started, man. I mean, I played against a guy years ago. He got drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, but man, he was like Al Noga. You probably wasn't a household name to a lot of people, but he played for the Minnesota Vikings defensive tackle. But everybody knew Al Noga in the WAC conference back then because he was a Samoan guy. I'm talking about, he was smack you, boy. He was smacky. But I certainly think that Dallas, man, I think they got a diamond in the rough. If you coach him up and let him learn from maybe Michael Parsons and maybe if you get another, let him learn from Kendricks, I think you got something in that guy right there. Goodbye, Desmond Clark. I'm tired of seeing you, man, on roller skates.
Yeah. With Overstone as well too. Along with Overstone and the 2 linebackers they got, and then you got a defensive end that can play. They can play.
Hold on, Tim. I gotta shout somebody out, man. I gotta shout out Miss Janetta Grant Collier, man. Man, that is that's the hardest working woman I know, man. She is on her thing. Big shout out. She's joining us this evening. Very surprised. Glad to have you on, Miss Janetta. Hey, and I will be calling you now. I will be calling you. We got to get together. But yeah, this is the replay, guys. This is the replay where we try to make your day. We hope that you all enjoying the show, this content. I got my co-host, Tim Jackson. I call him Action Jackson because he played at the University of Nebraska, got drafted by the Dallas Cowboys in 1989 and played with a few other NFL teams before going to Canada to play, as well as my boy, my main man, Daryl Alexander the Great. I know him as Squinky, y'all, but I don't never use his nickname on there. I just did, huh? But I've known him ever since he was getting on top of them horses down on Wagon Wheel Trail, man. We had a big old afro.
Right on, bud. Right on, bud.
He put me out there now. Okay, let me be quiet now. That's my Hutch. That's also my Hutch running mate too, man. We played the guard position together. So that's my guy. So anyway, these are my boys. These are my brothers. These are my brothers, man. Years of history of knowing each other. We doing this show and continue to bring this great content. But yeah, Tim, it's a lot going on, man. In the NFL, I think it was a great overall draft for everybody. But I definitely think the Dallas Cowboys, man, they did some great moves after, initially I was questioning some things, but they drafted the need. And you can't never go wrong with that when you need to have those kind of players. But next time I'm gonna hold myself, God willing, next year we're doing this again, DA. Because I'm never gonna let you.
I heard you, DA.
You didn't have no quarterback.
I had to slip that in.
Right.
He didn't catch it.
I'm not gonna get into that conversation, but because Homeboy's a great regular season quarterback, and his stats prove that he's a good regular season quarterback, but that's regular season. So that's a whole other subject. We need him to play well in the playoffs.
Well, we got to segue over to this next one I want to talk about real quick because y'all know where I'm going, I think, next, man. We got to talk about the return of Ezekiel Elliott. He's coming back. Look at DA. But let me get to some of the highlights. I want to know if we're going to get this. Ezekiel Elliott.
Elliott gets a good kick-out block. And Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh, that's Zeke been gone.
And he is down to the 22. It's a run of 21. Is the running back.
I know if we're going to get this Zeke.
With a big hole.
Nope.
And the rookie from Ohio State.
Rookie?
I'm going to come to you first, Tim.
Is Joe Looney. And they give it to Elliott.
I watched him when Dallas played New England, and he looked a little bit lighter than he was when he was playing with Dallas.
So hold on a second. I asked the question. Hold on, Tim. Hold on for a second. Because I asked the question if we're going to get that Zeke Elliott or will we get this Zeke Elliott?
On a first and picking up 11. Look at Elliott. Wow.
Now, that's last year, DA. That's last year. I just want to give you a little bit of that Zeke Elliott just from last year.
Second and 3, here's the toss. Oh, and it's a big game for Ezekiel Elliott. His first carry as a Patriot. Addition there. Give it to him again. It's a little bit of a running start. He plows ahead for a first down. No, we're getting it out again.
And they go quick here, and Zeke pushing forward. The Patriots fans starting to chant Zeke when he gets the ball. First down.
And I think Belichick says, that's enough. Peppers, get out there. Here's your old teammate.
Oh, I look like a little bit of Zeke. That's all I'm going to give you, DA. That's all I'm going to give you because I don't want you running back up to San Francisco or Northern California trying to give it all away. I just think, him coming back, man, I'm not going to say it's going to be Zeke. Oh, I'm not crazy now. I'm not going to do that. I ain't going to mess myself up twice. I'm not going to do that twice, DA. But I do think Zeke return to Dallas, man, is going to definitely create some type of culture in the locker room again. I think they kind of missed Zeke in the running back room anyway. Last year, when you do think about it, even though they was featuring Tony Pollard, you just didn't see, the production that you wanted to see with him being a lead back. And I don't think it was a lot of leadership in that running back room. And Tim, you know something about being in those rooms. But go ahead and finish what you were talking about earlier, though, TJ, and speak to that.
Well, actually, you hit a lot of key points right there. You started off the key points. Is actually he's not what he used to be with his rookie year in those first 4 or 5 years where he came in. He was like fire every time because his speed was there. He's lost a step on that speed, quite a bit of that speed, but he still got great acceleration, which he showed once he lost weight. A lot of times guys bulk up too much. I know 2 or 3 different I grew up with and played with the guys that bulked up too much. There's certain things you can do with your body. You got to learn your body and know what your body does when you do too much weight or how you have to live for your body to get the best out of it for the things you want to do with it, right? And so to me, he bulked up too much. He stays a little bit lighter. He still can run through the hole. And the best thing that Dallas is going to be able to do is that they'll be better on third down and they'll be better in the red zone. we couldn't get a touchdown in the red zone running the ball last year.
Right.
And so Pollard for the whole year had 6 touchdowns rushing. 6. That's it. So it's not going to be that hard to cover up his position. You know, he averaged 59 yards a game. So a lot of people are looking at it like, whoa, he ain't got to do a lot to make it at least be last year, right? So it ain't a lot for him to actually match last year. And what's the running back name from last year? What was the Shern? What's his name?
You talking about Tony Pollard?
No, not Tony Pollard.
You talking about Dowdle?
Yeah, Dowdle.
Yeah.
He got to do is average about 10 yards more a game, 10 to 15 yards a game. And Zeke, all he need to average 45. You still got the same production you got from last year. So if they do anything exceeding that, it's a better season from the running back position than it was the year before. And it's going to be better blocking because he blocks better on third down. He led the running backs. He's one of the top running backs in receiving last year, even though he didn't play all those games. Sure. So he did a good job. He led them with catches last year, New England, as a matter of fact. So he was catching the ball out the backfield, which he'll do more here now. So that's going to be a good thing for them. Of course,
hold on a second, Tim. Hold on for a second. I need to ask Janetta, because she's saying he's soft. But we was talking about Tony Pollard and we was talking about Ezekiel Elliott. So I don't know if you're talking about Ezekiel Elliott is soft or Tony Pollard is soft. So can you clarify that for me? I want to know which one are you referring to, or were you referring to one of the 49ers running back like Christian McCaffrey? I just threw that in there. I know we weren't talking about Christian McCaffrey. I'm messing with DA on that. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, you come off in the middle of that point. I'm trying to remember it now. Zeke will be able to finish better, and he plays. He'll play against the pass. He'll catch the ball and do all things. The one thing. Oh, this is what it was. The one thing I want to say real quick is that you want a special running back if you can, but when Dallas use their running back, they'll get the same production they got last year. I feel strongly about that. Now we want better production. But that's going to have to be another year, unless they do a trade or pick up somebody along the way. There are guys going to get cut after June the 2nd that you're gonna see that's going to be available. So they could still add to the room.
Right. Well, let me come over to DA right quick, man, because it's something about when DA be sitting there, man. He be contemplating, listening. See,
I just be listening, man. I
watch him, man. I watch him. And I don't know, Tim, you be talking, I'll be looking at DA's disposition. I'm telling you, his disposition be telling me something that's totally different. But anyway, DA, give me your comment about Ezekiel Elliott's return. What do you think that this means for the Dallas Cowboys?
It means the same thing as always meant. Absolutely zero. When Zeke is your biggest headline, and I told you, I said y'all biggest headline is gonna be re-signing Zeke, and lo and behold, what is the biggest talk in the whole since the end of the Super Bowl? All of this, what did y'all end up doing? Getting Zeke back. Come on, man. It's the same old. Y'all in the same position. You're gonna end up in the same position because you didn't. And I don't mean y'all as people. I mean your organization didn't do nothing. You end up re-signing Zeke, and that's the highlight of the whole offseason so far. I mean,
that's crazy.
It's easy for me. This is real simple stuff. It's a matter of that people don't look at the things that you actually.
But it's nothing.
The final
it
point.
To nothing.
The final points is they actually need to show up that front seven, which they were doing in the draft. The front seven, they need to show up, and they did it for long term as well too. So they got some 2 big guys to add to it. So that's gonna make a difference. And then they just needed to plug in and just plug in play and keep somebody who can play the offense and do the offense really well and wouldn't make mistakes as well too, which is key. Ezekiel Elliott knows the offense, so he shouldn't have a problem not making mistakes. And they got all the receivers, and they added to that too. So they should be better on offense than they were before.
Absentee makes the heart grows fonder, right? Sometimes in order to appreciate what you have, you got to leave and go somewhere else in order to appreciate what you left. So I think if Zeke had a chance to go to another organization that was really, they had they problems. We know that they had their issues. Speaking about the New England Patriots. Now that he's back, he's in a familiar system. He's in a familiar environment. He got his buddy Dak Prescott back. All I'm saying is Can he turn back to the fountain of youth and be that Ezekiel Elliott that came in the first 3 to 4 years that was wreaking havoc? Now, if he can't, I still see him moving the chains. You know, when you're talking about getting around the goal line and you need that third down and one, that third down in inches that we lost on sometime and prohibited us from moving the chain. This is why I like to pick up him coming back. I'm not, how can I say, I'm not expecting anything over, let's say 600, maybe 700-800 yards would be a surprise for me. But if he can, you know, provide you kind of like a six-man would in the game of basketball. If you come off the bench and you got a player that can give you a good 10, 11, 12, 15 minutes off the bench, you would take that. And I do think now you're going to have to compliment him. One of these back, I think, with Deuce Vaughn, this training camp is going to be a real interesting, serious training camp for Deuce Vaughn, because even though they signed them guys like, what's his name, Snoop Connor and the other Freeman from the Rams, one of them dudes not going to make it because you still have Malik Davis and Donald. So, you know, one or even maybe two of those running backs are not going to make it unless you just really, really good on special team. Zeke money is $2 million, is $3 million, but $2 million guaranteed. Barring any injury, I see him on the roster opening day. So he's going to bring veteran leadership. He's going to bring more support to that running back room. And if they do look over in the free agency or trade deadline or whatever and bring somebody else in, I think you'll have a compliment. And I think that's the reason why Dallas went out and got him, because like Tim just said, he spoke to it so eloquently. He know how to pass, protect. He understands what they're trying to do, and he's going to provide that leadership, man. And in a locker room, as we know, Tim, leadership cannot be underestimated. You got to have guys, man, that can bring that enthusiasm and galvanize their teammates and speak with real positive talk in that locker room, because that locker room is so important. So important. So DA look like he gonna give us a D on that. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I give you a D on that.
You give us a D. You gonna give us a D on that? Yep. I told you stayed in Mr. Wood class too long, man.
I'm giving you a D all the way on that pick. That's terrible.
I'll just say one thing.
That's an emotional pick.
The only person who left that room, I want people to remember this. The only person who left that room was Pollard. Everybody's like, we got all these players gone. We only left one guy in the running back room. That was Pollard.
Right.
Pollard didn't do nothing last year. I'm not too much worried about that. Coming up what he did last year. Pollard's what he did can be covered easily.
Well, Janetta say that Zeke should collect the money and live out his contract. I know that's right. Get your money. Get your money. Invest your money. He already had a fat contract. Invest. Yes, I definitely agree with that. She also says that Dallas need a new owner. Dallas needs to get a new owner. I don't think Jerry gonna go anywhere on that, Jeanette. I do. I know everybody say that, but boy, I tell you the truth.
He's the best owner in the league.
And you know what I said? I talked about this a while back when I said Jerry gonna come back from the grave. Even when he will the Dallas Cowboys and the Jones family, if any one of them jokers try to sell him, he coming back from the grave, man. He might be the first one to come back. So I don't see him at all getting rid of the Dallas Cowboy. He loved him some Dallas Cowboy, man. We have a polarizing owner, that's for sure. But again, we're gonna segue in just a second here, man. That was a big shout out to Zeke Elliott, man. I'm wishing him nothing but the best. I hope that he come back galvanized. And you know what the song say? The second time around is better than the first time. Look at DA's face. He hate to hear it. DA hate to hear it, but that's okay. That's okay. So guys, we got a segue, man. We got a segue. I got to talk about, this is I Am Student Athlete, man. Talk about something that's that's dear to my heart when we start talking about the youth and these kids and the things that's been going on. Earlier, I sent you out a rundown, and DA asked me about the young man, who was Cormani McClain. So we're gonna talk about Cormani McClain because of this NIL, name, image, and likeness. So I titled this here on this particular topic right here, NIL or NI jail, the case of Cormani McClain. Now, you asked me the question, why did I say NIL or NIL? Well, simply because for those who don't know who Cormani McClain is, Cormani McClain, he was a 5-star recruit out of Florida, high school last year, who went to the University of Colorado and played defensive back as a true freshman. Now, this kid was coming out with high grades, high remarks, the whole 9 yards. Well, fast forward, that for a lot of young people, that adjustment is really tough sometimes for a lot of young people, a lot of young men, and including girls sports also. He didn't make the necessary adjustment. There is a standard that Deion Sanders has at the University of Colorado, and he didn't meet that standard. So we're going to play a little bit of clip of Cormani McClain right quick, and we'll talk about him a little bit in just a second. That's some of his high school highlights right there, as he earned, again, got a 5-star rating as one of the top defensive backs coming out of the state of Florida. And this is him with Travis Hunter, who looks to go into the next year's NFL draft from Colorado. They got him projected to go in top 5, Travis Hunter. This was Deion, talking about him at one of the press conference. So that's Cormani McClain. For those of you who may not know who that young man is. So we're gonna talk about it. DA, I want to come to you first on this, DA, because we've talked about this. We've even had a whole panel. We had about 8 people on here one night talking about the NIL and so forth. This is the very thing that we've been talking about, guys. What's happening right now, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because he done got stuck in the portal. I don't believe Deion is saying anything, because when they asked Deion Sanders about the situation, he pretty much said, man, I'm praying for all these young men. He said, the one thing I ask and I hope wherever he lands is that they challenge him to be the best. Now, it's been alleged and rumored that he was missing meetings. He was missing, watching film time. They even said he was smelling like marijuana. So he's done a lot of things that was detrimental to his own self. Now, at the University of Texas, Coach Sarkisian, they just lost Terran Brooks, one of my good friends' son, Chet Brooks, that played over at Dallas Carter. Yeah. His son is transferring from the University of Texas. You would think that Cormani McClain would have transferred, or Sarkisian would have wanted him, right? Because they losing Brooks. Back a few months ago, they could have had both Muhammad, the cousins, Malik and Jabbar Muhammad, but he wound up going to Oregon. So Texas made a mistake with that situation. But now you have a guy, a former 5-star Under Armour All-American that's out there, and coaches are not bringing him in so fast. So in other words, D, I'm going to come to you right quick. I want to get your take on it, because we talked about this very thing, man. You better make sure if you're going to leave those universities that someone else wants you. Don't leave that university because, you're still going through growing pains. Make sure that someone else is on the other side, man, before you give up your, $40,000, $50,000 or $60,000 scholarship a year. So, DA, speak to that, though, man. We're going to talk about this NIL as it relates to Cormani McClain.
I mean, that's kind of my issue with it. I didn't know. Like, I don't know the history. I didn't even know. I knew who you were talking about after you explained it, but I didn't know his history or why he was in the portal. I didn't even know he was stuck, till today, until you said that. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean, I mean, how long is he stuck for? Is he sitting out there until the season starts, or what are the rules on it? I don't know enough about the portal to really say.
Let me clarify a little bit. Let me clarify a little bit for those who may not understand. When I speak about stuck, it just simply means, okay, for example, you had one of the top running backs that left Colorado University, Dylan Edwards. Dylan had already signed with Kansas State. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Before he left Colorado, it was already alleged that he's going to get the bag. That's the only reason why he left, because they say, look, he was already getting about $3,000, maybe $3,000 to $5,000. Now you got someone, he's from Kansas, and they're offering you, you don't went from $3,000 to $5,000. They're giving you $15,000 to $20,000 a month, or whatever the case may be. What are you gonna do? And that's the reason why Deion is taking the approach like, hey man, the portal is like free agency. These kids are going for the bag, and you can't blame them. And no one is blaming the people that I've listened to and heard speak about the situation. they're supporting. Okay, you made the call. You want to lead the University of Colorado with all the publicity that you can get and all this stuff, and they was looking for him to start and all that. But you left without doing your due diligence. You left without, first of all, knowing if you're going to have that starting position. Because that was one of the things Jabbar made sure. He said, he just played for the national championship. So why would I come to University of Texas and you're going to have me switching in and out with Brooks when I'm a senior? So Oregon said, no, come over here. We're going to give you your NIL deal. You're going to still keep your starting position and still, build your stock up for next year's NFL draft. That's not what Cormani did. See, it saddens me, man, because he's a young kid and he's going to make those mistakes. So when I talk about being stuck, he can come out of the portal. Somebody, I'm quite sure, will pick him up. But if they don't, now he got to go to the junior college route and start all over again. He got to be able to show up those character flaws that they're looking at. And you best believe if he do play himself into an NFL potential draftee, Tim, speak to this, Tim. They're gonna glean the whole situation from the time you was in the 8th grade all the way through high school through college. It's gonna come back, it's gonna come up again about this whole situation, and he can lose draft status. He can lose a lot of money. But let D, I want you to finish. You got anything else you want to say on it before I come to Tim?
No, I didn't really know the story about it. Well, one thing I can say before I pass to Tim is I think this NIL and portal it's still, in the early stages. A lot of, if you don't have the right representation or the right people in your camp, you can make a wrong turn really easy. If you don't have the right people in your ear telling you, how you should handle this portal and this NIL. So.
No, I agree totally. But Tim, let me come over to you right quick and speak to it, because we talked about this NIL, man, and DA just said if you don't have the right support group, the right people, and people providing you with the correct information, not being just a protector, but you need people that's going to have your best interest. And right now, this young man is 18, 19 years old, surrounded by people that don't have his best interest. He's speaking in his ear, but Tim, go ahead and speak to it.
The biggest thing, he's lacking maturity. So when he finished up, he used a quote from Michigan State to kind of throw out a quote as he was leaving. He gave a good letter that he wrote to the team and to the fans. That was good, right? If he had left it at that, that would have helped him out. Say, yeah. But no, he had to go back in and say, hey, I don't want to play for clicks no more. Got him a whole lot of interest. Yeah, he got click from that, right? He said, I don't want to play for clicks. He got a lot of clicks from him. Right. So we're like, okay, who really wants the clicks, right?
Yeah.
So you like clicks as well, too. So you did that, but what had happened was this. He also he was a number one defensive back. He was number one cornerback coming out of college. So he was number one. Everybody had him picked number one. And he even started, with Colorado. He started, and he was playing pretty good. He had time to play good. Then he had other time he made mistakes. Some big plays he gave up. So he played pretty good. You can see his talent, though. So it was just a matter of time. If he could have stayed focused, he had a matter of time, he probably would have did something with Deion. But no, instant gratification is the problem, right? Which lacks the maturity and also character. And so in this, what happened is this. In going to Colorado, he was signed with Miami. Not signed, but he was actually had confirmed with Miami. He was going to go to Miami. But he ghosted them. So he ghosted them and didn't even talk to them and let them know, hey, I'm going to Colorado, right? Lack of maturity. At least tell the people, hey, I'm going to move on. I'm going to Colorado. Just maturity. Nothing wrong with that. But maturity, we've done that. So now what happened is he's being ghosted right now, even though he is putting this out. He says he had 11 teams that's looking at him. But all the big committee says not true. He said LSU, Texas, Auburn, USC, Texas A&M, Oregon, UCLA, Georgia, USF, and UCF is actually looking at him, right? And Oklahoma. So these are the teams he said looking at him, but all the sites that actually, talk to coaches and all that kind of stuff say they don't believe that to be the case, right?
Right,
so
right.
Right now he's on hold because of character and also because he's probably looking for the bag too. So he's looking for his number. He's trying to get his money because he's the number one guy that's coming in. So he's trying to find his money. Plus, he's trying to find a good situation as well. And probably asking for a whole lot of money because you can see already he ain't satisfied with too much anyway. Right. So he's definitely after that bag, and I think that bag is what's holding him up, is keeping him into the portal.
Well, let me say this right quick because with all that you just said, one of the things that definitely sticks out, Tim, is the lack of maturity. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why he would think after having the type of year that he had being in Deion Sanders' doghouse that he was expecting to get an NIL deal, because the NIL deal is based on when you seeing Shedeur Sanders hold his wrist up and he's he's flexing that watch and doing this stuff because they know he's a character guy. You know what I'm saying? This is all about branding, right? So I just pray and hope that this young man can receive the right information to get back on track, because here's what they're saying. When you look at it from a coach's perspective, not only do you have Deion Sanders, perhaps arguably the greatest defensive back to ever play the game, in your corner, and you're under his tutelage, and you're getting that type of coaching, then consider Kevin Mathis, who played another 10 years in the NFL. Then when you consider Robert Livingston, who is the defensive coordinator who spent 10 years in the NFL with the Cincinnati Bengals, you got basically nearly 30 years, man. 30 years of NFL coaching, a Hall of Famer, and you just you walk away from that. What do you think that's going to do to peer pressure in terms of coaches wanting you to come to their program when they're trying to set a certain standard and they hear allegations that you've been smoking weed or you're smelling like weed or you're not showing up? Man, look, I'm going to tell you, that's a character flaw. That's a character flaw. And when you're building a top prestigious program, they're not going to let those individuals, man, come into their program to mess up what they have going on in their locker room. Rather, if you can, and we've seen it time and time again, guys. Guys that have all the talent in the world, but they have character flaws. And once they see that, bro, you're going to play yourself out of not only the college league, but you're going to play yourself out of the NFL league. Because they don't care about that, man. At the end of the day, this thing is about branding, it's about money, it's about protecting whatever brand or shield that you represent. And them coaches are sitting out there saying, if you can't get it from Deion Sanders or the coaches because his position coach is Kevin Mathis. So I'm saying, now you mean tell me, you got a problem with Kevin Mathis too? You got a problem with a defensive coordinator who just came in the college ranks from the Cincinnati Bengals, who've been to the Super Bowl? Dude, it's going to be hard for that young man if he don't collectively get himself together, man. He's going to have a problem, man, trying to get back to any Power 5 school. Let me put it like that. But DA,
I'm hoping he's not I'm hoping he's not I know it kid. You know what I'm talking about? I know it, coach. Yeah, I know, coach. I've seen the film room with those guards. I know. Usually I know right out the door. Okay? I know right out the door. Because what happened is that when you know everything, you don't need to learn anything. You don't absorb anything because you already know. You ain't got to watch no film because you already know what to do, right? I got this. Why am I watching film if I already know what to do? I got this. But you on the field tells the story, So when you go in that film room, that film don't lie. It tells a story.
What did I say earlier when Deion Sanders, when he said, I heard one of the most, and I was playing ball myself, hearing some of the, things that are said out there on the football field and practice, all this. This was one of the funniest things I just heard when he said, I can't start him in the game when he can't start in practice. Because he said, I'll be a fool to put him out there. But I like one of the questions for those of y'all who are coming in, joining us, man, on the replay this evening. Hit the subscribe, like, and share button, and tell a friend. We're still growing this channel, man, to bring you the best possible content. I'm your host, Jabril Rashad. He's my co-host, Tim Action Jackson and Daryl Alexander the Great. One of the comments in the chat box is from Ms. Janetta Grant Collier again. She asked a beautiful question, DA, and I'm going to come to you on this. So perk up on this one because she's asking a beautiful question. You work with kids, Tim work with kids, I work with kids, but I'm going to let you lead this off. She asked the question, who's out there helping these young players? Just as simple as that. Who's out there, DA? When you see a kid like a Cormani McClain who doesn't seem like he had the right foundation, maybe they alienated him when he was in, or handicapped him when he was in high school. Because, you get what you want and you pampered in high school and you think you got the the carpet is rolled out for you and everybody patting you on the back saying you all this. Then you go to the next level and realize now you're not all that, because here come another kid that they recruited out of California, and he has himself together, right? And you're not going to be babied, excuse me, because Deion say I'm from the old school. So DA, who's out there helping these young players?
That's a good question. Like me personally, I follow mine up through high school, and then after that, they kind of, there's another group that sort of comes in and takes them from there. Their influences are different. I mean, I don't know who. If he was once a 5-star, you would think he's got a circle, that knows the game and knows the business. I don't want to say too much because I don't really know what the actual reasons were. Maybe he just wanted to get out of the circus. I think it's a circus at Colorado. He may just want to not be in the circus this year. To me, I mean, I wouldn't want to play for just a coaching room full of NFL ex-players, because I know they might not know how to coach. They might just they were so good as players, they may not know how to get a person to the next level. I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't want to bash him because I don't really know what happened, but I know it's a circus. That brother probably says, man, I'm tired. It's just, I wouldn't want to do it. If I was a player, I wouldn't want to be there. It's just too much. Like last year we talked about, it's just too much. I want to go to a team where ain't nobody talking about every day. We ain't on the social media every day, every night. We ain't the topic of the time.
Okay, DA, because I see that look in your face, TJ. I know you want to come in on that, but let me speak to this real quick, because I attended University of Texas El Paso by choice. I could have went to several schools in the Big 8. Colorado recruited me, Oklahoma State, so forth and all. But I chose, University of Texas El Paso because it was the Thorn Conference, and they was at the bottom of the totem pole, and I wanted to be a part of something, change something around. But I can tell you this. Had the Miami Hurricanes come calling back then, and that's the difference between Deion bravado now today and social media and all that stuff that's going on versus what was. Can you imagine when Michael Irvin was coming through at the University of Miami team? Can you imagine Warren Sapp, Randall Hill, all them boys back then at the university? If they'd have had social media today, what it would have been like. Now, if it was anybody who wanted to play under that kind of bravado, that's your boy. Yeah, I would have walked out of the smoke and everything. yeah. See, because I understand the moment. Because it's only earned opportunity. And when I walked on the field, I knew in my mind it's either going to be you or me. Earned opportunity. And that's the way you think. So those individuals who knows this can go into an environment like Colorado. That's the reason why he have constantly said, I'm looking for dogs. I'm looking for individuals who can understand the moment. To go into an environment like that with all those coaches, and you're not going to get overlooked. And y'all heard me say this several times. When you have a coach that can pick up the phone, just pick up the phone. You're going to get a shot regardless. Look at Weaver. He went undrafted, right? Even though Deion came out and said he was disappointed about them not getting any players drafted, but he still have a chance to make the Arizona Cardinals. You going down there with Kyler Murray. All he got to do is go in there and do what he do, because you're going to get a shot just being in the program. If you bringing it, you're going to get a shot. But TJ, let me come to you though, man. Speak to what DA talking about as far as the circus, because you got to have, Ringling Brothers was very successful because they had a circus. They had monkeys and dogs and cows and clowns and all that. So Ringling Brothers, Barnum.
Come on, Tim. Put your spin on.
I'm waiting. I'm trying to wait to finish up. He's rolling, man. He just rolling. He asked me a question.
Come on, Starks. You know he calls Starks.
Let's go, Starks.
Put your good guy spin on.
Hold on. Check this out. So I will give you this, DA. Amari Cooper, who's also a cornerback, who's actually started last year for Colorado, is leaving as well. So that's another person who's leaving. And so they do have some people who leaving and don't like what's going on in the program. So there is some legitimacy to some people not liking what's going on. But I'll say this about coaching. I'll say this about coaching.
After you said that, talk about who's coming.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can hit on that. I'm going to talk about coaching. Coaching, check this out about coaching, okay? Coaching has three things to it, more important than anything else. vision, technique, being a technician, and then creativity. The creativity comes in. Vision is a vision for the guys, the players you're playing with, the techniques that you use, right? The different techniques you use. I've seen all kind of things. I've seen coaches do all kind of things at cornerback position where they have them look at it, a certain way, turn their body a certain way, shuffle their feet a certain way, or they take 2-3 slow back steps, all kind of little technical things that some coaches do because they have this vision of how this helps the guy play, right? That's one thing. Some of these things don't fit every player. I promise you on that. It don't fit every player, especially how some people teach bump and run. I've seen people try to say, hey, it's best to have your right hand or your left hand, different sides of the hand when you actually bump and run it. So I've heard all kind of different techniques and technicians. The other part is this. You have to have the vision, the creativity comes in, what you want the person to learn. You create drills for they can learn it. So it becomes second nature. So that's a part of coaching as well. So if you see all the different drills, people create different drills for you to learn something they think that you lack or something they want to hammer in and make sure you have. If a coach is doing that, he's already ahead of the game. And a lot of pros that play the game have that because they've gone through a system. Now, if they're limited on that, that's another story. That means they only limit to a certain amount of techniques and ability to do things, and they can't adjust, right? So that matters as well, too. So Deion could have some very good coaches, and Deion, I know he's creative because he's a technician. The one thing about him is he's very good technique, and actually he knows some little tricks of the plays. Like if you got enough speed, Deion will teach you how to fool a quarterback and a receiver and think it's one thing and another. He's very good at that, and then getting the pick on him, right? So some of the guys he picked are very talented, got great speed. This young man has great speed. He needed to teach him some knowledge. So he was teaching him how he wanted to teach him how he could be successful at making plays. That's what he probably was wanting to teach him. And the kid needs to learn it, though. He needs some time to adjust and learn it. And some kids are just too impatient in this impatient world to take time to learn things and be okay with actually not knowing everything they need to know right at the instant moment. This is instant cereal now,
Yeah. I certainly agree with that assessment, Tim, that it takes because everybody, we all grow at different degrees and different levels. Some people get it immediately, some people get it later on. In this case right here, he may be one of those kids that may be a late bloomer. I think he could have used a redshirt year, to be honest with you, to give him time to adjust. Because again, some of the character traits that I see in him, they was babying him in high school.
Yep.
He has such natural. I think he's a gifted young man. He has a lot of natural ability, natural talent, but the level change. It changes, and if you don't develop and prepare yourself to play on that next level, then usually what's going to happen, man, you're going to fall by the wayside because you're not trying to get better. And I think he's used to, being able to step on the field and just make things happen, just playing off a raw ability. Because when he talked about watching film and stuff like that, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't a film guy. My first year, but I understood when Bob Stud and them came on as head coaches, they was giving us tests that you had to take before the game. Up at Wilmer Hudson, all we did was walked out on the field, DA. We didn't give us no tests. We just say line up, and we knew maybe two or three defense and watch the ball move. Man, it's not like that when you start getting to these next levels. It's not. So these coaches' jobs on the line, this is a $1 billion industry. It's a $1 billion industry, man, and they're not going to put these players out there on the field, man, that's going to cost them their job. They're just not going to do it. So if he's not watching film, because, he had a problem with Shiloh, his own son. Shiloh was like that when he first started. He wasn't watching film, and Deion got on him as if he wasn't his son. Shiloh started watching film because he can go in there and look and see every player who's actually watching film. Them coaches, man, it's a $1 billion industry. They're not going to put you out there because you can lose your job within 3 years. My deal is this. You get all the publicity. I don't know, being at the University of Colorado and it's many other universities, but I don't know any college that's today out there where you can shine. Take that receiver, for instance, Amari Miller last year. Remember number 14 that had the real big game, even though they lost against USC? True freshman came out of nowhere, had like 200-some yards in receiving. Just came out of nowhere. Now he's on the national stage. Scouts are sitting there writing that down. Oh, okay. You see what I'm saying? So, to give yourself an opportunity and give your family an opportunity, man, I'm saying go where they want you, first of all, because Deion definitely wanted this kid. He wanted the best for this kid. I don't think he adjusted the right way, but I also think they should have redshirted him. Now Deion should have looked at that. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna keep you. We're gonna keep you one more year now, because you can still go pro after your junior year. Even though you'll be a senior, you'll be a redshirt junior. He could have redshirted him and let him adjust, because some kids need time, and I think sometimes coaches can miss that by looking at their own situation. But let me check the comments right quick, man, before we wrap up this evening's show. We're gonna let Miss Janetta call you, man, because she's a newbie to the platform this season. She said it seems like it's football. What about mental clarity with these players? I couldn't agree with you more. That's one of the reasons why my guys know, man, we always talking about the mentoring approach to this thing, and why we have financial literacy as far as, being a professional in life, not just a professional in sports, but being a professional in life. That's why we have, again, I Am Student Athlete and the mentoring program and the financial literacy program, and all the things we're trying to collectively do to ensure that these young people, if you're not going to make it in the NFL or the Major League Baseball or basketball or whatever the case may be, you can be a professional in life. So that's a great question, Janetta. And, I'm hopefully one day I got some inside track. One of my former teammates, Tony Tobin, played with the Dallas Cowboys. He know Prime very, very well. Hopefully I can get a chance to go up there and speak to these young men too, because you got to have different personalities. Not everybody had a 10 or 15-year NFL career. Let these kids see people who've been out there in the environment dealing with real life situations. I think when they do that, let the common man come in and speak to a lot of these kids who are taking the opportunities for granted. It's like a coach told me years ago, you may get one knock at the door. It's going to say, knock, knock, who is it? Opportunity. If you're not ready, to pass you by. It may come back, but it's highly likely it may not. So when preparation meets opportunity, you got to be ready to open up the door. And that's what we want to give to these kids, man. So guys, this will conclude another episode of the replay where we try to make your day. DA, you got something you want to say before we sign off?
Yeah, I need 1 minute.
You got it, bro. You got the flow, my brother. You got it.
I need 1 minute. I'm starting with Tim.
You gonna start with Tim?
Dak or Romo?
Oh yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I forgot. Let's do that.
You gotta say in what context?
Just Dak or Romo.
Hey, wait, what do you call this? Our last 60
DA's
seconds.
miscellaneous minute.
Okay, that's what we got.
DA's miscellaneous minute.
Huh?
Okay.
Dak now because Romo's the pass.
Jabril.
Dak or Romo.
Jimmy Johnson or Mike Tomlin?
I'm Jimmy Johnson.
Tom Brady or Mahomes?
Tom. Boy.
Tom Brady now.
Tom Brady, but boy, he's close.
Kelly Rowland or Beyonce?
Kelly Rowland or Beyonce? What would you like? You like chocolate or you like?
I'm asking the guy. I'm asking y'all the question.
Let TJ answer that first.
Yeah, I'm Beyonce because I like her build, her legs and stuff. So that's what that has to do with. Both of them beautiful.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I like them
man.
both.
Kelly Rowland, man. I mean, it's Kelly Rowland. Man. Let me stop, man. See, why you do that, DA? Why you do that, man? Why did you do that?
Yeah,
man?
that's without going into reputation and all that other stuff.
I'm just throwing it out there for whatever your reason is.
Oh, okay.
Nas or Jay-Z?
I like more of Jay-Z music. I like Nas' skill. I like how he sounds better.
So which one is it?
Jay-Z music, Nas sound.
You got to pick one, bro.
I did. I told you. I just picked it.
I'm picking Nas because he wrecked him on Ether, and that's all it took. Once he got him, he didn't have no response to Ether. I'm taking Nas, man.
Bath or shower?
Shower majority of the time, but I take a bath because it's actually good for the body. Epsom salt, all that good stuff. But shower most of the time.
Wait a minute, I got some people. They come in too. Which one you gonna take? Peter say she gonna take Jimmy. Janetta gonna take Jimmy. Let's see. Janetta, we on the same. There you go, Janetta. There you go. We on the same. We taking 9. We taking 9. Let me see.
All
Pizza
right.
say she got Beyonce. Okay, go ahead, DA.
Shower or bath?
Shower.
Last one.
Right.
Freddy Krueger or OJ? I'm kidding. Never mind, man. I'm kidding.
No, man, come on, man. Don't do that, man.
Never mind, man. Never mind on that.
But
anyway,
I'm
man,
gonna be a no comment. But go ahead.
That was it. And I didn't. Y'all notice I didn't give no answers. Y'all didn't ask me mine, but
yeah.
We asked you one time, but you didn't want to answer. So
it was Romo, Romo Tomlin, Brady.
Jeanette, hold on. Before you get, she said OJ. So I think OJ too. Because I want to get some sleep. I'm like Jeanette. I take my 10. I want to get some sleep.
Say Jabril.
Who you got
Thursday.
DA on that? Who
Tim.
You say DA?
Tim, Thursday, Jabril. I won't be here, man. My our boys are being recognized by the Grand Prairie NAACP. So we'll be taking them and their parents to that. It'll be Thursday night. So I'll miss this Thursday night show, man. So y'all just hold it down till Monday.
Hey man,
proud of you, my brother.
If that's what it is, man. Like I always tell Booker, we talked last when was that? Thursday when the NFL draft kicked off. He was at Big Byron Murphy's draft party, but he also worked with those kids in track. I say, hey man, we know you our brother. You'll be back when you finish up with those kids. Do God's work, man. Do God's work. Keep working in God's car. I know you're great with those kids, D8. So we're gonna be, shouting, rooting you out, brother, supporting you, with the replay. Congratulations. And
might get some footage. Might get some footage from there.
Yeah, if you get some content, man, we're gonna put it up. So make sure you can shoot it to me and I'll put that up. So everybody that came on to the replay, we want to thank you all for joining us. We've had, in the words of my man Don Cornelius, we've had a stone cold blast.
Shout out.
So
I got a shout out.
Who you shouting out right quick, TJ?
I'm shouting out to all the parents that allow their children to fail. You have to allow your children to fail because they learn how to have resolve and how to have internal fortitude, how to grow and how to overcome failure. It's really not failing. It's actually finding success, finding a way to find success. So you make mistakes or you do something, you find your way to success.
Absolutely.
So allow your kids to fail.
Absolutely.
Well said. DA, you got anybody you shot? We just shouted out. Anybody else you want to shout out right quick?
No, man, I just shout out the Grand Prairie NAACP for recognizing us.
Okay, and I'm going to shout out to all of the young men who was drafted and those who wasn't even, who went undrafted. Those young millionaires. I want to shout them all out, man. It takes a lot, man, to get to that next level. It really do. It's a lot of pain, a lot of sweat, a lot of tears, a lot of aches. But these are young millionaires today. I hope they keep their money. I hope they invest their money right. If you need any help, call me up, man. I'm an investor, so call me up. But this is gonna do it, guys. This is another night of the replay where we try to make your day once again. And I want to thank everybody that came on this evening. I always say before we close out, make sure you hit the likes, subscribe button. Tell a friend, we're still growing the channel. And as always, keep God first in everything you do. Peace and love, y'all. We'll see you on Thursday.
Peace, love, and